Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and joining me for this Monday night's episode is my good man, Barry Bannan. Baz, it's good to see you, mate. It's good to be back on, get a wee chat with you, and obviously we've got quite a bit to get through. How are you?
Good, mate. Good, especially after the weekend. Obviously, you can only be happy after the weekend. So I've had a great weekend, big man, and I've been speaking to you over the weekend as well, and I know that you've had a great weekend as well, mate. So I'm looking forward to tonight because it could be a long one. There's a lot to talk about, no doubt. So it's good to be back on.
100%, yeah. And we've got some comments flying in already, mate. But before I come to them, I just want to apologise for us starting late. There's a wee bit of a technical problem at the beginning there. So normally we try and get on as close to 8 o'clock as we can. So it's one of the ones, technology, sometimes you can't do much for it. But a few folks saying good evening, bye. So we'll come to a couple of comments, mate, before we kick in and obviously get to it. Martin Flanagan, he was first in tonight. He said, evening, lads. Hope you're all well. What a day yesterday. Trusty Scale, SINISALO, outstanding. Hope you're well, Barry. What a season your team is having. Keep it up, mate, and hail, lads. There we go. And then, obviously, further down, we've got G-Doc. He just says, good evening, all. Big Rab's in as well. He says, evening, gents. Busty 1888. Evening, Trips. Plunge. Evening, boys. Beautiful Sunday. And Big Rab, he was first to comment saying better late than never. So obviously he's picked up that we started late tonight. And then Spearmint, evening JP, Baz in the chat. Great effort from the team. Francis Lester's joined us as well. He says, hail, JP and Barry. Nearly slept in the night. Big man, as you kept me on the phone all night. By the way, I thought I could talk, by the way. This guy is unbelievable, man. He's worse than Ryan with rosary beads rattling. I'm telling you, man, I'm not joking. Waiting to get his button. Couldn't he wait to get on the phone to me last night, by the way. But I hope you're all well, Francis. James Kennedy joining us as well. Evening, JP and Baz. Michael Ross, hail, champions. And P. McLaughlin, 6 cup ties undefeated now versus the Mutants. There we go. What a name, by the way. Superb. Couldn't have put it better myself, Mr. McLaughlin. Well, boys, obviously, there is a small matter of the Glasgow derby, mate, and it seems to be a fixture recently, mate, that as much as we might not be playing the best of football, but we're now unbeaten in the last 2 over what I love to call the big house. And yesterday was enthralling for many different reasons, but obviously, what's your early thoughts on yesterday, mate, and the way the kind of game panned out?
Obviously, I was speaking to you yesterday during the game, big man, and what I was seeing, I wasn't too happy with, obviously, because we were on the back foot for the majority, all of the game, really. But that's just your competitive side, and obviously, I was watching it and I was praying that we were going to win, but I couldn't see us winning the way the game was going. But as you take a step back, obviously, and you look at the bigger picture, what Celtic have done the last 4 away games in 10 days or so, or whatever it was, you got to take that into consideration. Rangers have had 2 weeks with no midweek football in between the last 2 Old Firm games. So we had a full week preparing for it, and a full week again, whereas we've played in Stuttgart and we played away at Aberdeen. And then you get to a day before the cup game and you see 2 of your best players are ruled out for the cup game as well. And not only 2 of the best players, 2 of the biggest leaders in the changing room as well, and 2 of the most experienced apart from Jamesy in terms of Old Firm games. So when you take all that into account and you look at the team that we managed to put out there yesterday, cup games are all about winning at the end of the day. And the biggest compliment I can give to them yesterday is the way they fought for that badge and the fans, and they never looked flustered at any point in the game. They looked as if they were comfortable defending, and that's an unbelievable trait to have. When you're under the cosh for as long as they were yesterday, very, very easy to go under. But you've seen with this Celtic team since Martin's come back in and his first spell as well, that they're playing for the jersey and they never say die attitudes. Unbelievable. And when you look at it, like I said, the massive thing for me was these 4 games were season defining. You can probably take the Stuttgart away game out because it was a bit of a dead rubber. The tie was finished. But that's probably played a massive part in the last 2 results with confidence. We're getting the winner there. So, no, I'm over the moon that they've went on and won the tie yesterday and got into the semi-final. Performance wasn't great, but lifting that cup at Hampden in the whenever it is in May, nobody will be speaking about the performance at Ibrox. It'll be all about lifting that cup. So I'm over the moon. I thought they were, to a man yesterday, unbelievable. In different senses, no in terms of fast flow and dominating the game. To stand up and be counted at that place, it's a tough place to go as well. No, I thought there was, when you look at it now, there's so many positives to take for the game yesterday, and the biggest positive is that we're in the next round and they're not.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Obviously, before I divulge into some of that, Baz, our good man Ryan has just commented. He says, "Good evening, lads. Hail, hail. Poor performance, and we can't keep performing like it. And Vuka looks like he's never played before, but most importantly, we won, and cup football is all about that." For anybody wondering where young Ryan is tonight, you'll probably get him in Princess Di in the next hour, probably cuddling into Billy Potter. Ryan's over in Tenerife. So, yeah, if anybody's looking for him, you'll get him in Princess Di's. But it's all right for some, Bazzy.
For some life the wee man's got, isn't he? Some money as well that you can just jump in the last minute and jump on a flight.
Aye. It's not that, I know, by the way. I heard all his mates in Cranhill had a whip room from that Ryan didn't even have to pay a penny towards it.
They have 10 shows are paying well, but it looks it.
Aye. He's definitely, if he's upgraded that camera and some of that lighting, man, I think it's went to good use for him. Definitely. He's now got his money's worth for that, definitely. Aye, there he is. So he's letting us all know just now. He's part of the boy band that Billy Porter has in the pub at night. So he's a lookalike for Shane for Westlife, I heard. But yeah, but that's the thing, Baz. Obviously, you touched on a couple of things there, mate, and obviously the way they were immense yesterday in terms of they had to approach the game differently because unfortunately the quality just for spells of the game yesterday it wasn't there. Although I did think there was moments in the game where when Rio Otaki got on the ball, we did play some nice football at times. But Rangers turned it into a battle. And very early on, they started going direct against us and tried to use their height and physicality against us. And I felt that we really stood up to that really, really well. I think there was a lot of people before the game had kicked off was questioning, Liam Scales being the captain. Why was Liam Scales playing at left back over Marcelo Sirachi? I think they saw that in the game, why he was playing there, because obviously he had height, a wee bit of physicality. I'm not saying Sirachi's no got physicality, but he's not got the same kind of height. And obviously Liam Scales, in my opinion, is very good at winning headers. So when the balls go long, when Jack Butland tries to go direct into the full-back positions with somebody with a bit of height who can get on the end of some of the headers. Another guy I thought was outstanding yesterday was Austin Trusty, who's obviously come under for quite a bit of criticism recently due to his red cards, etc., in quick succession. But I thought he was colossal yesterday. Julian Arajo, the exact same, really physical, really... for me, Baz, I think he's one of those players, mate, that sets the tone when he's going for challenges. you seen it early on. I think the boy Romans tried to have a go at him down at the corner flag, and he kind of stood up to him, and the two of them went head to head. But the ref obviously dispersed it quite quickly. But it was a kind of never back down attitude, and the way that you see him in the game as well again with Nico Raskin. He's having a go at him. The two of them go head to head, and he just doesn't back down. He's willing to take on the world, and I love that attitude. I really do. But for a different reason, Baz, I thought it was a great game in terms of a slugfest. Because it's not very often you get to see that in these games. For me, I thought a lot of that had gone. Sometimes it's about technicality, the way we set up against them, and we try and normally turn it into a football match. And I thought a lot of that was down to Callum McGregor not being there. But touching on the Callum McGregor one, Baz, how big an absence did you think that would have been? And do you think it obviously had an effect on the game yesterday as well?
100%. I think we seen that we went with Luke McCowan in there. Probably kind of new to him as well in terms of being that midfielder and not being allowed to really a licence to go forward. I'd speak on Callum McGregor being the one that sets the tone in terms of slowing the pace it down, quickening it up if he wants to. He's Celtic's go-to guy in every game, really. He's the one that runs the game for them. Massive leader as well on the park. But you seen it yesterday. Technically, Celtic were lacking a lot yesterday in terms of build-up. We tried to build up through the goalie with short goal kicks, and it was 1 and 2 passes, and then it was getting launched forward to the strikers. But Celtic's not really built. This squad is definitely not built to go direct, and we were caught in between building up, and when Rangers pressed us, you never had Callum McGregor there to take the ball and get you out of that press. So we were going quite direct, and it was coming back willy-nilly because we never had the striker up there to hold it up. Maeda's not that type of striker. We've known that for years, that he's not a striker that's going to win the ball in the air and one flick on. So losing McGregor yesterday was a massive part of the downfall for Celtic in terms of performance-wise. We wanted to play out for the back, but when you've not got your main man there who orchestrates it and gets on the ball and starts getting you doing that, then that's why you go direct. So I think we were caught yesterday with trying to play out for the back when it wasn't really on, because we never had the main man there who he's the one that gets the ball and dictates and tells people where to be. That just wasn't there yesterday, and we've seen how much we missed him, and he's been criticised a lot this season, but that shows you yesterday that he's still Celtic's main man, and you seen that yesterday because we never get the ball at all really yesterday, and made loads of passes and slowed the game down when we needed to slow it down. I think we slowed it down well with the goalkeeper, with goal kicks and stuff like that. He took a bit of the heat out the game very well. Normally you've got McGregor doing that and keeping the ball and dictating to where it should go, but we definitely missed him. It shows you yesterday that although people have slagged him this season, he's still Celtic's main man.
Yeah, for me, mate, Callum McGregor's been the modern day version of what I grew up watching with Paul McStay. That's probably the biggest compliment I can give to Callum. Obviously, Paul McStay was a one club man as well, and obviously Callum he's carried that into his career as well, and a different era, obviously different type of players, but Callum's got that. He's got that within him, I think. To obviously Paul was able to captain Celtic as well, and and he was the maestro. He was the guy that ran a lot of the show when he was in the midfield at that time, and obviously Callum's done that for many seasons now. I agree with you. I think Callum was a big miss because I thought our avenue, and again, it's no Luke McCown's fault. It was really new to him yesterday, putting him in that kind of role. I thought he made a couple of nice passes, but there was a couple of times he was caught on the ball due to being unsure in sort of moments where to go and what to do with that. and because he's used to playing over in like one of the half positions or off the side, you know. So I felt as if, you know, not that I don't want to say he was poor or he's no Cal McGregor. And I think Luke would probably be the first to admit that if he was even listening to this, he'd probably be nodding along with me, hopefully, and he would say that himself, you know. But you touched on the goalkeeper, but in terms of the goalkeeper, obviously SINISALO, Baz, what have you made of him for he's come into the team, mate? And do you think that Celtic now have a candidate for a new number one?
I think the last few games where he's been, the biggest compliment you can really pay him is you've no really spoke about him in terms of shakiness, or if a goalie goes under the radar, that means they're doing something well. But he's not really went under the radar at Celtic because of previous performances from Kasper Schmeichel. So he's probably getting a lot of people speaking about him now because of how well he's done in terms of coming in, and people probably don't know really expecting him to do what he's done. And he's been thrown into the deep end because he's played 2 Old Firm games, a game in Stuttgart away, and then a tough one to go up to Pataudry as well. And he's been near on flawless, really. He's not made any mistakes. He's been commanding. He's not really took probably the risks that Kasper takes with the ball at his feet. But at the end of the day, he's got his own way of playing SINISALO. It's different for Kasper, but no, I think he's been unbelievable since he's come in. The last 4 games, he's been brilliant, and he looks as if he's got an old head on his shoulders. In terms of, like I was saying earlier about yesterday, he knew it was a pressurised situation. He used his time really well. It wasn't getting the ball and throwing it out as quickly as we can, which we've seen with Celtic previously with Kasper in goals. We're always really quick to get the ball restarted. But we kind of done the opposite yesterday, and I think that kind of helped and went a long way to getting the result that we wanted. I thought he slowed the game down brilliantly and took the sting out the game at times, and then you could see him in the penalty shoot as well, where the mind games were creating him in. He was really vocal and big. He looked a big presence in the goals and trying to put people off, and it worked. He probably, if he's being a little bit critical of himself, he probably should have saved the 2 that went in. Yeah. One goes under him, he goes the right way, he was unlucky. And then the other one, the Dearies, he gets a hand to him, probably should do better. So, no, I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I thought he was a massive part of Celtic getting the next round. I thought he was brilliant. Even corners where Rangers are really dangerous, I thought he done really well at times there as well. He made sure that he wasn't getting penned in his goal line with a lot of players. He was throwing them out the way. He was dictating where his defenders needed to be. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Not just yesterday, but I think overall, I think in Stuttgart as well, that's a massive to put him in, you know, and he goes in there and he does really, really well. And then, like you say, as a Pataudry, I think one of the commenters just said it there, that the save from Big Kevin Nisbet's header was unbelievable. And I don't know how you feel on this yourself, Baz, but I think of late, obviously, Kasper's dipped in form. I think we could all see that. And there is a lot of talk about Kasper's still playing with an injury in his shoulder, and Martin O'Neill's confirmed that he's had to take injections as well on it. And obviously that must be playing in Kasper's mind. He's not been able to perform at his best, you know, although he's still pulled off some saves in some of the games that he has played this season. But I think for a period of time there, we could see that he was losing a lot of sloppy goals. You know, there was a lot of balls creeping under him that he would normally save. I think it was a one at Kilmarnock. He just looked all over the place when he's going for that ball with the header. He's going for it with the wrong arm and everything. He was positioning wrong, and I think for a bit of time, and then the Stuttgart game at Celtic Park, I think we touched on it, mate, when we were talking about the Braga game. Remember the goal that went in as well, and how that beats him from the distance it did and stuff. And then I think with the whole Denmark thing as well, you know, with Scotland really putting them into the playoff after that. The goals he conceded that night, the overhead kick for Big McTominay, his teammate Kieran Tierney curling one round him, and obviously then Kenny McLean lobbing him for more or less a halfway line. So he's took a wee bit of a battering mentally there. And again, I'm not sitting here wanting to lambast him, because I think Casper's been a very good goalkeeper in his career, and I'm not one for pointing fingers and blaming anybody, but I think for a bit of time, Baz, we could see that he was, you know, he dipped in his form. And I think the timing was perfect for Jamie Sinisalo to come into the team, because I think there's a guy there that was showing a lot of hunger, training really hard, trying to get himself in the team. As Martin O'Neill says, he's wanting to be the Celtic number one. But when he's coming in, I totally agree with you about the old head. He's very vocal, Baz, as well. I think he does a lot of shouting, for what I'm hearing. And I've been at Celtic Park when he's played before, and he is really loud. You can hear him, you know, speaking to the players and telling players where to go when it's a free kick or a corner. But the one thing I think we can all probably agree on here, Baz, is he's one of those goalkeepers, mate. I think, like in a game like yesterday, mate, he was coming out for cross balls and winning them, whether he was punching it or gathering it. Mostly he was gathering it. I think one or two he punched. I think he actually took Big Nadiri out yesterday with one of them as well. He just came right through a ruckus of bodies and got to him and took him right out. But that takes the pressure, you know yourself, Baz, that takes the pressure off your team, and it keeps your back four at ease, knowing that you've got a guy able and ready to come and do that. How pivotal was that to have within your side, mate, when, like I say, with Casper, things weren't happening like that? Casper was more rooted to his line. He wasn't, I think my dad at one point says, I think Casper's playing with cement in his shoes, because he never ever comes off his line. He's stuck to his line all the time. But now you've got Sinisalo, very vocal, but he's coming out and actually winning balls and taking the pressure off you in high pressured arenas like Ibrox.
No, it's a massive help, of course. As goalies have got an advantage with set plays in terms of they're big, but they can use their hands as well. So you want your goalie to come out in command, especially in games like yesterday, where that Rangers team they specialise. Well, a lot of their goals are coming for set plays, so you fear the worst when they're getting set plays. But if you've got a goalie like the big man yesterday who's willing to come and take a few and punch a few away, it's a massive help. It puts you at ease. You're not panicking when it goes to a set as a team, because you've got belief that your goalie's there and he's going to come and help you. So that can allow the defenders to kind of settle and do what they're meant to be doing, rather than thinking we're going to have to go and head this. But you know with Sinisalo that if it's in his area, he's going to come and take it, or he's going to punch it clear. So it just puts everybody at ease and takes that fear factor away when there's set plays. So that's been massive for us as well. I think yesterday they had loads of set plays and corners, but I think probably apart from the goal that get disallowed and the one that gets cleared off the line, they dealt with most set plays really, really well. And bear in mind, probably Rangers are a tall, physical team, so they're probably doing the worst. But I thought yesterday at set plays, even not just Sinisalo, I thought the defenders, I thought Trusty, Donovan, Arthur, Scales, I thought they were all brilliant. And when it came into their area and the goalie never came, they were willing to put their bodies on the line and head it clear. So we can all say the goalie, but I think the defenders as well yesterday at set plays were unbelievable. Yeah.
Obviously, guys, going into the game yesterday, and the way that Celtic started the game, and obviously how, like you mentioned at the very beginning of tonight, that we were under pressure, and obviously Rangers were kind of pressing against us. And now, I don't think for a minute the Celtic set up purposely to do that. But obviously, being on the pitch yourself, mate, what is it, or can you put your finger on why the game ends up going like that and becomes a battle or becomes a slugfest, as I would call it? Because obviously, Carl McGregor spoke about the game the week before at Ibrox, and how Rangers wanted a battle, but Celtic wanted to turn it into a football match, and that's why we get back in for 2-0 down. But obviously, we know there's great character within the Celtic team, Baz, and that's not that for me. That'll never be doubted. But in terms of how we played in the game, what would you put that down to, mate? And where do you think that materialises from?
I actually thought Celtic started the game really well yesterday. I thought first couple of minutes we were controlling the game, and then probably after 10 minutes we kind of lost that control. Rangers, I remember, went direct for Fernandez out towards Scove-Olsen, I think. Celtic had a press on, so the midfielders weren't there to pick up the second. And I thought as soon as Rangers done that, they thought, we're getting joy. That's the way we're going to go. They set up with two strikers who are big and physical, and the midfielders kind of dropped in a bit. Raskin dropped in a few times, but the majority of the game they're quite direct in their play. They want to get it wide and get crosses in the box. But I think Celtic's, as you spoke about earlier, with Scales going to left back, Arthur and Trusty being the two centre backs yesterday, that was a tactical masterclass for the manager, O'Neill, because we were quite happy to let them cross it in, because we knew that we had people in the box who are physical enough to win the battle and get on the end of the crosses. So it kind of played into Celtic's hands a wee bit yesterday with the crosses coming into the box, because we were set up and ready for that. Of course, Celtic wanted to get it done in play. That's their style. But it's hard. It's hard when a team gets a bit of momentum to try and swing it. And it takes courage as well in that environment to get the ball. McCowan a few times get robbed it when he tried to take his time on it and try and take the sting of it. He lost it a few times in dangerous places. So that can play a part as well. You're thinking, I don't want to take it again here after what's just happened the last couple of times. Yeah. So, and don't get me wrong, probably Rangers for last weekend with Celtic's second half performance probably looked at that and thought how they could have done better. Maybe they changed their press yesterday. But I don't even think it was Rangers tweaks that stopped Celtic from playing. It's the personnel that we had yesterday in the pitch that changes a lot of the way Celtic play. We've touched on it already with McGregor no being there to 99% of the time. If we're building up, it'll be Callum McGregor who gets on the ball and gets us out of that press.
Yeah,
so that was a massive loss, and probably why Celtic never really get control of the game yesterday was a lot of it down to being McGregor no being there. Know that we get dragged into a physical battle or Rangers stopped us for doing it. Callum McGregor no being there was the reason Celtic probably never got a foothold in the game. I thought Hatate done really well yesterday again. We've been quick to hammer him on here at times this season, but I thought Aberdeen again, Celtic's best player. I thought he changed the Old Firm game last week in the league when he came on, and I thought yesterday he was unbelievable. We've normally seen a real Hatate this season who at times can be frustrating, give the ball away, or runners will run after him, or he won't do his bit for the team going back the way. But I thought yesterday he was everywhere. I thought defensively, which we don't really talk about really with Hatate, it's normally going forward. I thought defensively yesterday he was brilliant. He was everywhere, as I said, and 120 minutes he played. He's nearly played I think he's played nearly every minute the last 3-4 games. So that shows you where he is fitness-wise, and I think he's in a real good place at the minute, confidence-wise as well, with this last week or so, with performances. So that was a big reason point for me yesterday, because I've stayed on here for years now that he's my favourite Celtic player, and when he's on it, Celtic are a completely different team. And I felt yesterday with him, Nygren and McCowan, he really stood up yesterday in that midfield and battled. And even the chance we have in the last minute of extra time, his pass to release, I think it was might have been CVACARA actually that he released, and CVACARA played Jamesy in, or it might have been in Vuka maybe. That pass at 119 minutes, after all the work you put in to get the ball under and release a pass, we nearly actually won the game through it. No, I was really pleased with Atata yesterday, but going back on your point, I don't think it was down to Celtic not wanting to get on the ball yesterday and play. I think it was down to the personnel that we had at our disposal. So we probably had to play a bit differently yesterday, and the way we played wasn't pleasing on the eye, but the way they done what they had today was unbelievable.
Yeah, because I mean, I've always thought this, in terms of, you start a game and you look at the Stuttgart game at home, for example, when you start that game, and again you touched on there that Celtic in the first few minutes of the game yesterday, Baz, they start really well. They done the exact same with the Stuttgart game at home, and then all of a sudden a moment happens, and then you're not able to continue, and it's frustrating as a fan when you're in the stadium and you're watching that. But obviously I thought I would ask you that question, mate, because obviously you're still within the game and you're still playing at a very good level. And it's easier for us to, as a fan, to think, well, hold on a minute, these guys are only trying, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But I know for a fact that that's not how they, when a game maybe doesn't go your way that way, and there was key elements to why that was yesterday, mate. And when you look at the absentees that we had yesterday, and these are all key players in my opinion. You touched on the captain, Callum McGregor, for starters, right? So he's a big focal point in the way that Celtic play and line up. Then you've got another midfield option in Arnie Engels, who wasn't there. You've then got another option in Alistair Johnston, who wasn't there. You've got a winger who's currently injured, he's not played all season, and Jota, he's not there. You've got Cameron Carter-Vickers, who's not an option at centre-half for us either, and he's absolutely colossal. So when you look at the absentees we had, and then you look at maybe, you've got Callum Osmond there as well, who made a small impact when he got in the team, but people are probably going to say, well, JP's probably more a youth player just now and try to find his way into the team. But these guys are the options. We've not even got Kalechi Iheanacho because he's currently not able to get himself fit, according to Martin O'Neill. He's struggling for fitness just now. So with all the combinating factors in that, there's certain reasons why Celtic weren't able to maybe just get a grip of that game yesterday. But I believe what you're saying, Baz, and I think a lot of it was to do with Callum McGregor not being in Celtic side. Because for me, Liam Scales, although he was, in my opinion, I thought he was excellent yesterday, he came across a very different captain. So he's not as vocal maybe as McGregor. He maybe leads differently, as in the way he tackles, the way he goes for the ball, the way he tries to win the ball for the team. Maybe setting that tone, it could be different. It's a lot different for Callum, because you see Callum out there and he's speaking to them during warm-ups. You see him speaking to them during the game. And obviously he's a big influence in the dressing room, because there's some of the lads like Araho, Svanchara, they spoke during the week about, on Celtic's podcast and Celtic TV during the week, about how Callum, he made an inspirational speech at half-time last Sunday before the manager even spoke to them. But you touched on, obviously, the manager's masterclass, Baz. Just how big an influence in a day like yesterday, mate, where you have to battle and you have to, go to war with that. Just how big an influence is Martin O'Neill? Obviously, you've played under him as well, Baz, so you know what his kind of his man management style's like. But just how big an influence is he in obviously the job that he's doing in the building, mate?
No, he's been unbelievable. Obviously, yesterday was probably like a traditional Martin O'Neill performance, in terms of, you look at the team and you think, how's that been kind of picked, kind of?
Mm-hmm.
That's Martin O'Neill's stamp all over it, with the three big centre-backs in the back four. That would have been Martin O'Neill that would have decided that 100%. he obviously learned for the game the previous week when they were quite direct and kind of beat us up in the first half. So he's probably thought, physically wise, in the middle of the park, we'll go for fit ballers, but we need a strong back four. And you seen with the back four yesterday, I keep hearing about the 20 odd shots, but I can't really remember SINISALO making an unbelievable save yesterday in the game at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Speak about all these shots, but I can't really remember one that was like close or SINISALO's made an unbelievable save. I know the one Chermiti post probably fluffs his lines a wee bit, but apart from that, it was probably shots that you weren't worried about, and that's a defensive masterclass for me. They have so much possession, a lot of dominance in the game, but your goalie's not really had to make unbelievable saves or that. So no, he's 74 now or whatever it is. He's been in the game years, he's experienced, he's been there, done it, and wore the t-shirt, and that showed yesterday. To get a result with that team, and this is no disrespect to the team that was out there yesterday, but a lot of people look at that team when it comes in and probably write Celtic off, but he's just got a knack of finding a way with players at his disposal, playing to their strengths, and he done that yesterday. We've spoken about it all night, about losing your main man who makes the team tick. So when you lose somebody like that, you need to go down another route, and we done that yesterday. We surrendered possession. We tried to hit in the counter. Going forward, wasn't brilliant. He probably really angry about that side of it in terms of they never showed enough quality. But in terms of, like you said, slugging it out, defending your goal, which he probably knew the majority of the game yesterday was going to be like that. So he's picked people for that game, knowing that we're going to have to defend a lot of the game, and not playing, obviously. We're through to the next round, and he's just, every Celtic fan that's seen him when he was here years ago knows what Martin O'Neill's all about. He finds a way, and he's done it again since he's come in this second time. He's found a way. His record, I seen the other day, I think we've drew 2 and lost 1 and won 17 or something. Since he's been in. So he's there unbelievable. But it's no surprise because he's a top manager. I know football changes, but it doesn't change that much. And this goes to show that if you're a good manager, it doesn't matter how old you are or how much the game changes, you'll always find a way to win.
I actually think he's the Celtic are keeping him young. I actually think it's having a great effect on him when you see him, because he's full of life. He's always not so much when we were in the Europa area. He wasn't making us a lot of jokes and being jovial with the reporters then, but like you say, domestically, mate, he certainly makes a lot of jokes, and he comments on how people are young guys, and it's all changed for he was in there the first time and stuff, and that's what he says. I'm old enough to be some of your granddads, you know what I mean? And he has jokes and that with him, and I just think that's brilliant and dead refreshing. I think he touched on as well with the Celtic fans having to be in Celtic Park, Ibrox yesterday early, and he says, are they getting breakfast? You know, kind of just the way he is. You know, that's just obviously he's like, I don't want to intervene with Police Scotland or anything here. He says, but I just want to know, are they getting breakfast? I just want to make sure they're all okay for the game when it starts 3 or 4 hours later. And that's just the way he is, you know. And obviously, I can imagine what he must be like in a dressing room, you know, in terms of. But he strikes me as the type of man, Baz, that if he's not happy, he'll soon let you know. You know, and I don't think he minces. I heard a recent comment for Stephen Warnock, and he says, I think Stephen Warnock, was he at Aston Villa?
Aye.
So Stephen, he was on a podcast. I can't remember what podcast it was. I just seen the clip, and Stephen says he pulled him in, and he says to him, how do you think you're doing, son? And Stephen Warnock just starts, I'm having a great time. I'm loving it. I'm doing well. And Martin O'Neill says, I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but it's none of that, son. You're absolutely terrible, and you're not doing this right, you're not doing that. He just started rhyming off his big list. And Stephen Warnock got up and went like that to him, if you think I'm that bad, why do you not just transfer list me and get rid of me now? And I think the two of them had a wee bit of back and forth, but he says what I loved about him was he was just straight to the point and he was really honest, you know, and obviously that gives you an indication of what the man's like. I've met him maybe twice and I've went to see him at the Bar of Art and Design when he did his talk that night. It was through Paul John Dykes was a compere as well, so myself and Ryan and that attended that night and he was brilliant. He was absolutely tremendous. And the way he tells the story, the way he puts it across is just tremendous. And obviously I'm really blessed, mate, that we've been able to rekindle, like, to still stay within this title challenge. And obviously, as we said before we came live tonight, mate, just starting up. I mean, Celtic are on to win a domestic double. And this is supposed to be, a Celtic side that's rotten to the core and the worst that people have seen. And they've been written off the part of post pads. But one thing I wanted to touch on, mate, is obviously a lot of fans seem to disregard just exactly how bad the season's been for us. I mean, and this is us as fans. How do you think the players feel, mate? Because, their leader and manager at the time, in Brendan Rodgers, he walked out on them. He left the building. Now, it doesn't matter what reasons there was. That was the action that was taken. He left the building. And this, by the way, this was a fortnight after calling them Honda Civics. So, comparing them to a Ferrari to a Honda Civic. And then if you're in there, Baz, and you're in that dressing room and that happens to you, and then you're a wee bit then quite quickly, over 24 hours, you find out it's Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and they're coming in to carry the can, etc. As a player, mate, where is your head there? Because for me, that must take a big effect on certain individuals, especially ones that maybe got close to Brendan. Because I know Carl McGregor had a good relationship with Brendan and there was maybe one or two others. But the players that Brendan brought to the football club, how big an effect do you think that's really had on them? Because I think personally it must have had quite a big one, because I know it would have been me if my leader had walked right out the door.
I think what we're seeing now with Martin O'Neill is we're speaking about how it's not been a great season and what we've been used to, because we're probably in some of the best football in the last couple of years. Well, in my lifetime anyway. We've been treated to very good football over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. From Brendan's point of view, I think the players, like you touch on, Callum McGregor and people like that, who had a really good, they know that he's not speaking about them. I think why we're seeing this Celtic team probably struggle compared to previous seasons is the recruitment is probably dropped off a wee bit in terms of quality, which is why we're not playing as well as we have done in recent seasons. But a good manager comes in and deals with what's at his disposal. I've spoken about it a lot tonight. It's about finding a way. And that probably played into Martin's hands in terms of Brendan leaving like that, because with A players probably thinking they're no good enough with what Brendan said, that plays right into Martin's hands, because he'll come in, he'll fill them with confidence, he'll get them on side straight away, he'll make them feel 10 feet tall, some of them. And you've seen that, because I'll touch on probably the biggest one for me is probably Yang. He's been a different player since Martin's come in. I think he never had his greatest game on Sunday, but he's been really good since Martin's come in. You've seen a different player. Listen, he's not the finished article yet, but he's definitely improved under Martin O'Neill's managing. So Martin would have pulled people. He's really good at pulling people, and like we say, we're speaking about Stephen Warnock and it being the opposite end of the scale, but doing well, and he'll pull you and he'll tell you. And he's got this aura about him that if he does give you a compliment, it's like it feels 10 times better than just a normal manager giving you that compliment. So you can see that he's done that with certain players. Liam Scales probably another one yesterday, getting the armband off Mark O'Neill. That would have filled him with confidence going into that game.
Yeah.
And his performance yesterday as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a coincidence. 100% he's probably spoke to Atati. He's just unbelievable at man management, because this isn't the greatest Celtic squad that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Probably far from it, but today what he's done in a short space of time to these group of players, and as you say, we're not a million miles away. It's still a long way to go, but at the end of the season we could possibly be looking at a double with this group of players. And given where we were probably 2 months ago when Wilfred Nancy came in,
mm-hmm.
never have thought this Celtic team would have had a chance of winning the league or winning the double. So listen, it can all still fall down, and we might be speaking in a couple of weeks' time saying the season's done. But to have a chance, and with that momentum off the back of yesterday's result,
Mm-hmm.
they're right in the mix now. And that's all down to man management and Maloney and Fozzie and people at Big Mick help Martin out. They've done brilliant, because this Celtic team before he came in for the second time this season was in a real bad place, and looking after the last 4 games, it's the complete. We're at the other end now. We're looking at titles. We're looking at doubles. We're speaking about doubles. So he's done unbelievable, and that's all down to man management, because, as I've touched on, it's not the best Celtic squad, far from it, but he's finding a way. He getting the maximum out of these players, whether it's probably no every week, technically wise, we're not running away with games, but he's got the players playing for him, and most importantly, playing for the badge, and that's the biggest thing. If you look at this Celtic team at the minute, the determination and the never give up's unbelievable for them.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Obviously, touching on some of the January recruits, mate, up to now, in terms of Big Benjamin Arthur, obviously he gets brought in at Pataudry. He's been given the nod to start yesterday as well. What have you made of his input so far over the last couple of games?
I thought he was brilliant at Pataudry. I thought he kind of strolled through the game. I know Aberdeen probably never really tested him as much as we probably wanted to see, but I thought what he did have to deal with, he done it quite comfortably. So then he goes and starts again yesterday off the back of playing really well against Aberdeen. And I thought yesterday, apart from the time where he probably get caught in the box, try to keep it in and try to probably be a wee bit too nice and skillful, he get caught, but I think we recovered it quite well. I thought yesterday was good as well. I thought physically he dealt with what they threw at him. I thought he won his headers, kept it simple. I thought he's not put a foot wrong for me, really. He's been really good the last 2 games. So although I talk about recruitment being bad, he looks as if there could be a player there with him. I know it's still early days, but yesterday was a massive game. It was his second start for Celtic. To get thrown in and come out the way he did is only going to add to his confidence. So, no, I thought he was really good yesterday. I thought the back 4 and young Dane Murray came on as well. I thought he was brilliant when he came on as well. So, no, I've been really impressed with Arthur from what I've seen so far. He looks as if he fits the Celtic way quite well, and he gives you a bit of physicality that we probably been crying out for it at centre-half. I think he's acquitted himself really well in the last 2 games that I've seen him.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think I've been really impressed with him. The way that he plays with a calmness as well, which I like about him. And he doesn't rush into things. I think Martin obviously confirmed yesterday in one of his interviews that yesterday was just down to legs, down to minutes in his legs, and obviously he's not played a lot of first-team football, and that's why he decided to change and bring in Dane Murray, which also, mate, I thought that he did very well when he came on. Dave Murray, again, big lumpy boy, and I thought he was very physical, and he done well. Obviously, a guy that seems to be making a lot of headlines, and he seems to have really adhered himself to the Celtic fans really well. Julian, mate, obviously comes in and loan in the January window there, mate. But just how big a profile do you reckon Celtic have got in their hands there, and obviously how big an impact do you think he's now making within the group, mate? Because he seems to be loving every moment of it.
No, he's been brilliant. Obviously, the last week or so has probably enhanced his reputation with the Celtic fans for their love for him. But he's been brilliant this season. We've missed a big player this season in Alistair Johnson, but he's come in and filled the void very well. He's adhered himself to the Celtic fans through performances, but also his attitude towards the club, knowing what it's about, the way he gets stuck in. Yesterday, for me, was you need characters like him on the park. He sets the tone, as you said, right from that. He wins a foul, he gets up, he fouls somebody no long after it, they're squaring up. You need people like that in them games, because if you go under there or you don't react, then it kind of gives the other team an upper hand. But he's made for them games. He's as game as they come. He's technically very good. Everything you want for a fullback, he's got it in a wee bit more. My only thing about Araujo is he's probably done too well that we might not be able to sign him at the end of the season.
Aye, never fall in love with a lone player, they said, man, and everybody has already, I think.
But I think you can see that he loves it at Celtic, so if you know, it won't be from probably his end. He'll probably dying to sign for Celtic by the looks of it. But to be honest, he's been massive for Celtic this season. He's got Kilmarnock being the obvious, but in a season where the teams underperformed, probably he's performed above and beyond for Celtic. It's going to be a hard one as well, because I don't actually think he's better than Alistair Johnson. I'm a big fan of Alistair Johnson. I think Alistair Johnson's still Celtic's best right back. And I know we want competition, but they're two top players where one of them's going to be unhappy, whatever one it is that doesn't play. So it's probably not really going to happen unless AJ comes back and moves on. Then you probably look at Araujo then. But I don't think you can keep the two of them in the squad and one of them not be playing the big games. The other one's going to be unhappy. So he's been brilliant. I love him. His passion for the club in a short space of time is what stands out for me, and he's obviously done really, really well, which also helps.
Do you not think, Baz, with the amount of games that Celtic play in a season though, and then this five person sub rule as well, could really help Celtic nail some of these guys down?
It's hard because see when you get a taste for playing week in, week out, 90 minutes, and then you don't, it gets took away for you. Araujo's had that already, where he's been at Bournemouth and not played as much as he wants, so he's come out and he's got a taste for it again. So to come back and not play as much as you have the first time, probably when they sit too well, he looks as if he's a live wire as well, to say the least. So I wouldn't imagine he'd be one that would sit in the background and sit on the bench and not be knocking on the manager's door. I think he would be in wanting to play, as would Alistair Johnson. So it would be a problem, but if we could get him over the line, it would be a good problem to have, because you would have two top right backs at your club. But I'd love to see him there. I just think, as annoying as it is, he's probably done too well for us to go and sign him in the summer. I think he's transfer fee will go up, his performances.
Yeah.
But he's been amazing in his time here, and he's been a pleasure to watch, really.
Wee question for you, Baz, by Kieran McNulty in one of the comments. He says, Barry, do you want to come and play the last derby and finish that tip rasking? We could, I don't know if we could, I know you're good pals with Sean, but I don't know if we could start a petition for that to happen. Just to unleash you for 10 minutes to get in about that, did he? You know, but he's one of the players asking, isn't he? For some reason, he just seems to think he's a hard man, and he's not.
He plays on the edge, doesn't he? He's always involved. But as I've said about Araujo, you need people like that in them games. We've got that with Araujo. They're probably saying the same thing about him. So it works both ways. You do need that from a player in your team. Obviously, when it's the other side, you want to get right in about him. But I'm sure the Rangers fans love what Nico Raskin brings to these type of games as well for their side of it.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, one of the other signings, in my opinion, he's endeared himself to me. He's a Celtic fan. For Celtic fans, he might not do enough in terms of goal scoring and everything else, but I think he's made impacts in certain games for us when he's came on. Another big guy is Big Tam up front. For me, that moment yesterday with him hitting the winner and scoring that penalty and just the way he celebrated and does that to the away fans and the home fans. I just think in a moment like that, Baz, I think the big man needed to feel something like that. I don't think he's had something like that on his shoulders for he's came over the door. I know prior to that he's only got one goal, but there has been moments. Look at the Kilmarnock game. He's single-handedly helped to win us that game when he came on. He was involved in all the three goals that we scored that day. I also think that in moments like that, you see him, that's the last couple of times now. When they spill over last Sunday in the league game, he was right in the thick of that, dispersing players, pushing players out the way. And then again, yesterday, mate, you see his overall character he's getting a lot of stick getting off the pitch. Obviously, we'll touch on that as well. But, to step up knowing you score this and this is a winner. Big pressure moment, mate, and I don't think we could have asked for any more for the big man. But in terms of your thoughts, mate, how do you feel he's fitted into this team?
He's shown in certain games he's come up trumps. A lot of the games he's probably flattered to deceive. He's a bit different the previous strikers that we've had. Yesterday when he came on, I felt he never really won any balls that went up to him. He'd kind of never really get into the game. But as you spoke about, he came up trumps at Tynecastle. He got to a point that day. He done really well in his debut. Set the goal up. Kilmarnock obviously changes the game, does really well, him and Tanecki. And then obviously yesterday it could be a turning point. Like you said, it's that yesterday, that penalty. I know it's a penalty, but at the end of the day, there's a lot riding on it. That could ease confidence the world of good. And as I've spoke about with characters in Araujo, and you see with Manchara, the last two Old Firms, he's been right in the midst. He's been there. And that's what you need in these games. You need, if it kicks off like that, you need your team being together, and the big man's been right in amongst it. So no, he's definitely a physical presence, but as a striker, you're judged on scoring goals at the end of the day, and he's probably not scored as much as he wants to. But listen, we'll put ourselves in a good position for the rest of the season. He's no long in, so he could come up trumps. You never know. We could be speaking at the end of the season and saying what a signing if he if he can hit the ground running now and finish the season strongly after that confidence boost that he got yesterday, then it could be a good signing. But he definitely has added in certain games. He's come up and done really, really well in certain games. Certain games he's been missing. But he's still trying to get used to the league, his teammates as well. So I'm not writing him off just yet. I'm hoping that yesterday could play a big part to him having a strong finish to the season. I think, like you said, that would have done his confidence the world of good, scoring that winning penalty and taking all the adulation he got. So hopefully that helps him and kicks him on, and we can see a better Svanchara, because that position at the minute is a bit of a worry for Celtic, where none of them are really scoring goals, whether it's Adamu, Svanchara, Maeda's been tried up there the last few games. They're not really scoring, so I think that needs to be changed if we're going to go on and win this league and cup. I think the striker that you play through there needs a run of games and needs to start scoring for Celtic.
Yeah. Obviously, Junior Adamu, mate, what's been your thoughts with him?
He's probably not had as much game time as Svanchara. What I have seen, he looks a bit rusty. He doesn't look as that lone striker. I don't think he can really take the ball in, whether it be in his chest or to his feet. A bit similar to Maeda in terms of technically no brilliant, but he doesn't give you what Maeda gives you off the ball either, and he doesn't give you Maeda's runs. He's not got the pace that Maeda's got, so I think it's one or the other with him too if you're going through the middle, and I think Maeda's better than him through the middle. I don't think we'll see much of him. I think it'll be between Maeda, Svanchara, and depending on Iheanacho's situation, I think if he can get fit and bring what we know that he can bring, then he'll get running as well. But I don't think Adamu will feature much for Celtic, especially as a 9. I think it'll be between Maeda and Svanchara.
Yeah, and a man that made a lot of negative headlines yesterday, the lad in Vuka. What have you thought of him? Because I don't know if it's just me. Again, I'm not going to sit here and slaughter the boy individually and call him names, etc. But for me, I don't know if he's trying too hard or he's just a bag of nerves. What do you think, Baz? Or do you think he's just not good enough?
It's hard. What has he had? 45 minutes in the cup. I never seen the 45 minutes that day. I seen the second half. So when I turned it on, he was already off. That was the first I've seen him for Celtic yesterday. He didn't offer much, to be honest. It's hard though, because to come on in that game the way the game was as well, people are speaking about him and hammering them, but to be honest, Celtic's backs were against the wall at that time anyway. The only thing was that he probably did lack a bit of composure. When he did come on, he looked as if he was nervous. He was swinging at things. I seen the time where he shaped, I think it was Tavernier, up and ran it out of play. So when he did get the ball, he never really lost it, or he ran it out of play or gave it away. But it's a really hard game to come on in. For me as a professional footballer to turn around and hammer a player, it's really hard, because I know what it's like coming on in games. It's easiest at the best of the time, especially yesterday's game as well. So that would have been really hard for the young boy. It's sink or swim in these type of games when you get thrown in there, not knowing what it's about. And he probably sank yesterday a wee bit, but he'll be better from that experience as well. At the end of the day, he's not coming off thinking, I was terrible today. He's coming off buzzing. They won the game. He's not going to.
Yeah.
You're a player at the end of the day. You're a player that's in a team, and the team won. So he'll be happy yesterday that he got on and he left the park as a winning player. So it's still it's hard. From what I've seen yesterday, he didn't look great, but it's 45 minutes that I'm judging him on. It's so hard to say if he's good enough or no. When he came on yesterday, he was poor, but it's one game. What would we have said about Nicholas Kuhn? We were waiting for months for him to come, and then we've seen a completely different Kuhn who went on to make us a lot of money. So I'm not putting him in the bracket of Kuhn, but we don't know. It's so hard to write the boy off. He's played 45 minutes against Dundee in the cup, and then he came on yesterday in a really tough game. So I can't really judge him, to be honest. But what I did see yesterday, he looked a bit nervous.
Yeah, for me, that's what I put it down to. I thought he just looked a bag of nerves. And he was then in the moments when he was on the field, he was just trying too hard, like he says. He was swinging at things. He was trying to get himself involved, and indirectly just wasn't making a good impact. I don't think he deliberately tried to do that, but yeah. Obviously, when the game finishes, we go to extra time. Then the extra time finishes. No, sorry. Before we get to that, the offside goal. Obviously, Liam Scales flicks it on. Maeda's header buzz. Where are you with that, mate?
It's similar to the Aberdeen, where we think we see a camera that makes you believe it's offside. I think the camera that I seen yesterday at the game, they drew the lines up, and Jigger was behind the onside, the last Rangers player line. So I think it was a blue and a red line. The blue line, the last Rangers defender, but in the camera it looks as if Jigger's the other side of the blue line, and you're not seeing it straight along the line. You're not seeing it from where you're seeing it from like a couple of yards the other way. So it's hard for me to sit here and say I don't know, because I've not seen a proper, like, we see the Aberdeen game where it looks as if he's offside in the telly, but then you see the other photo where it's bang on the line and he looks, Nygren looks onside. So I don't know. I've not seen social media today of a picture of it being bang on line. I don't know if you have, but for me, I don't know. I don't think it's offside, to be honest. For the camera angle they're showing, I know they show that they draw the lines, but Giga looks the other side of that blue line as well. So for me, I don't know. It looks close, but until you see it dead on where it is, like down in England, you see it bang on the line of where the offside is. You do in Scotland, it's sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, for me, mate, obviously you've slightly threw me a wee bit because I wasn't looking at the one with Giga. The one I saw was a different angle, so it was like from behind the goal, and it looks like Fernandez is playing Scales on when he flicks the ball over, because essentially they're saying it's Scales' heel that's made it offside.
Fernandez is the one that goes for the header with him. Was Fernandez next to Scales? Because
no, it was Raskin that was going for the header with Scales for the flick on. It was Raskin that was Martin Scales.
I don't know if it was. I think it was Giga that looks as if he's deeper than everybody.
I thought it was Fernandez. Fernandez looked to me that he was in the middle of the goal, just and Maeda crops in behind. When the flick on goes, it goes so it would go like behind Fernandez's head, and Maeda's at the other side of that, knocks it in.
Well, it looks as if whoever's the deepest Rangers defender, he looks as if he's beyond the blue line. So that the blue line should be there, then it should be where that deepest defender is. But I thought
there's a comment there for Sugarman in the comment section. He says it's Giga was in the centre of the goals, playing everyone on side.
That's I
thought it would. So my mistake, and I thought it was Fernandez. Obviously, it's not. It's Giga. But yeah, the camera angle, as G-Doc says, the camera angle was terrible. Whatever happened to giving the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, Buzz?
That's long gone now. These lines are taking there.
Aye.
These squiggly lines that they're drawing in are getting.
I know. I've got a theory that Willie Collins bought a Moss Spirograph for Christmas, and they're all sitting in that. They're all sitting in that room, just drawing lines as they see fit. Know what I mean? With the wee stencils. and they're getting round corners waiting on it to make somebody look offside and they're no. But yeah, it's a bit of a hard one, I think, Buzz, because that's a real pivotal moment in the game at that point, and I think the game changes if that's deemed a goal, mate.
Well, definitely, like, goals change games, but it's all right speaking about it now because we don't need to chase up on it as we went through. So it is, but it is a bit worrying that you're seeing these camera angles that are trying to say it was onside or offside, but they're no actually clarifying anything. They're just lines, but you can't see along the line. You're looking at it from a completely different angle, so it's no helping anybody. You may as well not show the lines at all and just say it was offside.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Because I think it's silly when you draw the lines, and again, it's no clear and obvious. And for me, it has to be clear and obvious to make it offside, and it's no. And I don't know where in the technology would show them a clear and obvious, because, like you says, there isn't a camera that sits on the line right across that. If there was, they would have been able to show that angle. But for the referee not to have went to the monitor, and why do you think that never happened, Buzz? Because it was as if it was decided right away that this is offside.
Well, they're looking at the angle. They must be looking at the angle that we see in the telly. So they've obviously looked at that and said they've drew the lines in, but I'm not 100% sure that the line where the Rangers defender is the deepest range. He's not in line with the blue line for me. I might have to look at it again, but I remember at the time thinking it's no clarified anything for me. We can't see it. Like, it looks as if he's the other end of the blue line, and the red line's Liam Scales' heel, but it doesn't matter. Obviously, going forward, you would like it to be a bit different because there's going to be big calls leading to the end of this season that need to be spot on. And
as the wee man says there, Jota's goal against Motherwell at Fir Park, and the line, the camera guy was outside the Mega Bar. And Motherwell. That was crazy.
It was right. Must have been wee Ryan. It was drawing name lines.
I think so. Aye, Ryan and Big Alan were drawing. I think they were. Aye, they were out with their wee bookmark inkies for the bingo. Know what I mean? Playing silly buggers with the camera views, but aye, as I say, it's and then obviously get into the penalties, Buzz. How were you feeling at that moment, mate, when the final whistle goes at extra time, and then you know it's going to penalties? What were you feeling?
Well, you know what it's like as a fan. You try to predict who's going to hit the penalties. So I knew Ratati would hit one. I thought it was Vanchara would hit one as well. I never thought Austin Trusty would hit one. I thought it was going to be Vanchara, Hatati. I thought Bernardo would have probably hit one. I think he might have been hitting the fifth. I thought James Forrest, and I thought the Hawks would probably hit one as well. It's interesting to see who was hitting the fifth. I think it would have been Bernardo. I don't think Jamesy would have hit one. I spoke to Dan Kelly this morning at Millwall, and we were speaking about him, and I said, who would have hit the fifth? Would it have been Jamesy? And he was adamant Jamesy wouldn't have hit it. So I think Bernardo, maybe Scales, maybe captain, might the fifth. But I definitely didn't think Austin Trusty was going to hit one. And if he's watching this, I'm sorry, but I wasn't so confident when the big man was there. But he's a big character. He's got big balls, obviously, because I've been involved in penalty shootouts, playoff semi-final at Peterborough. It doesn't matter if you're technically good or no, and you hit penalty. It's still quite a scary situation to be put in. So I've been there. So every one of them that hit a penalty yesterday for Celtic, it's fair play to them because it takes some balls to step up and hit one. I've always said people that miss penalties, you've got to commend them, because for the courage to get up there and take one in the first place is brilliant. You get a lot of people who sit in the background when you're having these talks, but who wants to hit one, and you look and you see the real people when them questions are getting asked. So the people that took them yesterday, fair play to them, especially Atati. Like, he missed one last week against the same goalie and missed the rebound, and still gets up to hit one a week later. He buckled on the same way he went last week, but his penalty for me was the best one out the lot. I know the big man slots it in the side netting, but to be fair, the big man never really had much pressure, as mad as that sounds, because we had 3 chances to win it. His chance, the goalie making a save, and the last penalty, whoever that was. So we had 3 chances. So yeah, when you're a player and you're going up to hit a penalty, you think, I missed this, but he's probably thinking, I've got the chance to win this. Like, and if so be it, we've still got another chance after it. So I think Atati's penalty in the Ox, because what would have helped the Ox was Tavernier missing. Obviously, you're going up after the first penalty, knowing that if I miss, we're still level, kind of thing. So I think for me, Atati's penalty, given the circumstances of last week, was a big penalty, and I thought he took it really well. I didn't fancy us going off Celtic penalties this season. We've been awful. Obviously, Arne Engels has hit them. We've seen the penalty shootout in Kazakhstan was awful. Atati last week being the obvious one as well. So you've obviously got their goalie, who's Mr. I love to save penalties. Up to this penalty shootout. So you take that into consideration and you think, and they won the coin toss to hit first, and they won the coin toss for their end. So I wasn't 100% sure, but it just shows you can't predict anything in this game, because the penalties that everybody took for Celtic were unbelievable.
By the way, I've got a theory. See the coin toss? They done it twice. Did you not see he threw the coin and done it again? So he threw the coin and scales that was done in there. And I thought to myself, is that went to the Celtic end? And he's went, no, we're not doing that. I
think it's stuck in the mud. It never landed on a side.
Oh, so it was up on its standing upright kind of thing on the mud, right? Okay, because I had a theory going like that. That's hot the Celtic end, and he's went, no, we're not doing that, so we're going to go again till we get it to the Rangers end.
I've had that before, where we played Coventry away in the cup, and the coin toss went up, and we won it to take the penalty. So to pick what side, and our fans were behind one set of goals, Coventry fans were obviously behind the other, and he was like, "Oh no, you can't go that end for security reasons. There's not enough police to push your." I says, "Well, what's the point in doing the coin toss then if I can't pick what end?" So I won what end, and I chose their fans obviously, and they were like, "Oh, the police just can't have it there. There's not enough policing or security for the away end, so we had to shoot into there."
What was the point in wasting your time and standing doing a coin toss? And why did you not just address it to the captain and say, "Listen, I've been told that we can't have this up at the Sheffield Wednesday end because of security reasons," or whatever the reason would have been? But that's absolute nonsense, by the way. Total rubbish. This goes back to the whole Neil Lennon and Chris Sutton weren't allowed in Ibrox because of a security risk. But now they're working with Sky. This is when we were on TNT. Now they're working with Sky, everything's kosher, and their safety's 100% now, and it's just utter nonsense, utter total rot that they're talking. And no, I thought that was quite interesting. And yeah, fair enough. If that has been the case and the coin has stuck in the mud, then you probably couldn't have wrote that. But when I seen that going up the other end, I'm thinking, no, here we go, man. It's destined now that it's going to go. But then a wee bit of me thinking, right, well, hold on a minute, JP, we've got the upper hand on them in penalties. We beat them in the cup final. So that would have been playing on their minds, I know. Especially guys like Tavernier and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They lost that game and all. So
there's a lot of penalty takers who we were missing out on yesterday.
No, 100%.
You have Engels who takes every penalty. I was just glad wee Maeda was after part not taking one yesterday.
No, I could see Mas kicked the last one and scored on it, didn't he? It was one of the ones.
Yeah, he would probably have took one as well for the starting 11. He went off. Yang, possibly. So at the end of the game, you're thinking, who's going to hit these penalties? But they come up trumps, to be fair to him. And it just shows you it doesn't matter how technically good you are. Like, it's all about what you've got in here for a penalty shootout. It doesn't matter. You could be the best technician in the world. It doesn't mean you're going to, if you get the heart and the bravery to go up and take it, you're not going to score it, no matter how good technically you're. So,
yeah, I was just so proud of them, Baz, because they made Butland. This is a guy that really, deems himself as a penalty saver and all that, and they just made him look bang average. He missed every one, and he was a spectator for him. So the Ox takes the first one. Obviously, as you says, Tavernier hits the bar and over. Your old teammate hits one. And right after he hurt it, Baz, I feared for my motor's safety. I ran outside. Palmer's like, where are you going? I says, I'm going outside. I says, that's going to hit my motor. It's travelling. Look at where he's hurt it. And I'm standing outside and I'm like, waiting to catch your ball. I think to myself, that's going to scale my motor. It's went that high. But no, seriously, mate, it's obviously, it's a big reason why, things like that help to build character. And these moments are big reasons and why so much stuff happens, In terms of, obviously, the penalties, Baz, I thought all the penalties were amazing. Watching and scoring all the penalties. And especially the ones that, like you say, is big trusty. But to have that in your locker, big man, you should be putting yourself forward for more penalties. It was the same when we beat Aberdeen in the penalty shoot at Hampden and you see a Watt hitting a penalty and you see... And you're like, how are you guys not putting yourself forward for more penalties, man? That was unbelievable.
It's normally all the ones that you don't expect that end up hitting the best penalties. It's crazy. Because for goalkeepers as well, it's hard because Jack Butland must have been thinking, I've never seen this guy trust to hit a penalty, so I don't know. They have a read, don't they, on their bottles of...
Do you think that was a play? Do you think that was a ploy by O'Neill then to send to maybe get them and maybe talk to them and get them up for penalties? Because, like you've just said, Butland's probably been ready for other guys taking it rather than him.
Probably, but then your first penalty taker's Oxlade-Chamberlain, who they probably shared England camps with. So they probably have had a good read on the Oxy's pens if he's been in the England camps. I don't know. I'm thinking they must know each other for England. I don't know if they've passed across team, but I'd imagine so. But the Oxy's penalty was lovely. 9 times out of 10, a goalie does choose a side, and to go down the middles, and he never really hit it hard. He kind of guided it down the middle, which it's brave, but it was a lovely penalty. I thought he was good yesterday as well when he came on. I thought he done well. I thought he seen wee bursts of him where he broke away and he got away for a few tackles and he looked strong. So I'm hoping, as I said about Svanchara and the Ox, scoring his pen as well yesterday, and get minutes, that'll bring him on as well. So, no, I thought the penalties were brilliant. It's no nice to watch because you do all that hard work of staying in the game and you think to lose it in penalties would have been heartbreaking, but to say the opposite end of it, to win it in penalties, it's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, back in the day when my dad was a young man and going to a lot of the games, especially the away games and all that, before or his ballot, stuff that you've got now, like my dad used to travel with Celtic, mate. He used to, especially European ties, mate, they were done with toss a coin. So it was a toss a coin to see who it went through, if it was a draw the whole way. So, I mean, how unfair would that be? Like you've just said, boys, to stay in the game, you've drew a game, you've battled if it's, and then you get beat because it's tails and you picked heads. How are you feeling then? That's the way it used to determine your outcome, I'll be back in the day.
That's mental.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think Celtic lost out. One guy, if he's still watching, I think would be able to help me here, was Francis Leicester.
My dad's telling me
we lost a big European tie in a toss of the coin.
I think my dad told me that story.
I'm pretty sure I want to say Atletico Madrid. I don't know if it's that. But we lost with the toss of the coin. I think we drew both legs, 2 each and 3 each. And then Celtic lost the toss of the coin and went out of Europe.
Was that the year? It was around about when we won it, wasn't it?
Aye, there you go. So it was Benfica. That's what it was. It was a Benfica game. And it was run about then, Buzz. I think it was a year in between, because there was a year in between, then we got to the final again. Remember, we get beat with Feyenoord.
Aye.
And it was a sort of run about that time. My dad was telling me, and it was a big game. I'm not sure if it was Benfica. I don't remember Benfica's name being mentioned then. I thought it was Atletico Madrid, but we ended up, we lost the toss, and what a way to get put out of Europe, Bazza. And a way back then, it was a lot different from what it is now in terms of the money involved now and everything. You know, a way back then, it was more an even keel. There wasn't the amount of finance. As I say, it was a toss of the coin. But Sligo boy, you just put in there. We won 3-0 one of the legs, and I think we lost 3-0 in the second leg. I thought it was 2 each and 3. I thought it was 2 draws. And it was 1969. There you go. And obviously
was that Eusebio in that?
I think it might have been, mate. Aye, I think so. Aye. Did we win the toss? I thought we lost it. I was sure. I've heard the story that we get beat and we lost the toss. There's people saying we won the toss, but okay, fair enough. Maybe I've misheard that or whatever. Sorry, Dad, if you're tuning in tonight. I promise I was listening to you. I just don't remember. I'm pretty sure you did say we lost. Aye, there you go. There you go. So, Francis, it was the 1969-70 season, 3 each. And that's what I'm saying. So we must have won the first leg 3-0, lost the second one 3-0, and aye. So Plunges said it was Eusebio and Puskas. There you go. So that's the kind of calibre of player you were up against then, Baz, you know what I mean? But then they were sitting in their camp saying, oh no, we're up against Jimmy Johnston and boys like that, you know. So aye, as I say. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, mate, it was a toss of the coin. So thank goodness there's none of that. I mean, could you put? Obviously, we're going to touch on a wee bit of when the game all finishes yesterday, with a wee bit about the overspill and stuff like that, mate. But could you picture what overspills must have been like a wee back in the day, mate? With that emotion and everything else, if you're lost toss of the coin and you're out of Europe and you've battled really well and, like you say, stayed in the tie.
Oh, it'd have been madness back then. Yesterday after the game was obviously named you don't want to see that. You've got young kids going to games, and it's the thing is the effect that it can have in these people, these young kids going forward. Could have been a lot of first timers there yesterday, going with their dads or their ma's or whatever.
Yeah.
Never want to go back and watch football because of what they've witnessed yesterday. It's stupidity. And listen, it's a small minority. I know there's loads of people in the park in the end, but it's no everybody. That's where we need to be careful here, because there's a lot of Celtic and Rangers fans in that stadium yesterday who behaved and stayed in their seats and watched that all happen. But as we know, at football games, it only takes a couple of people to start stupidness, and then that's the way it escalates. So it's out to still be speaking about this and how far we've come, especially after what's been happening in these games, where you've not been getting fans and you've been complaining about it, and you're not been getting away fans. They took away it's not been the same old firms as it has been previous, because we've had no away fans, they've had no away fans, and then you get the first chance of getting a big away a crowd, and then this happens. It's actually crazy. You see, like, grown people in that park yesterday, like, and you think, like, you've got kids, and I just couldn't believe it, to be honest. It was mental. I know emotions are high, but like, come on, do you know who it affects the most for me as well? The players. Like these Celtic players want to celebrate and they have to go down the tunnel. It's crazy. Like,
yeah, they missed out on that yesterday, didn't they? Because of the bigger allocation and everything else. And like you says, Baz, with the the overspill. I mean, the Celtic fans, I can understand. I mean, deep down overall, you're not allowed on the pitch, right? We all know that. But they've just watched their team win a massive game at an away ground that is their biggest rivals. So the emotion, it's jubilation. They've jumped on to celebrate with SINISALO and some of the players that are coming down to wave at them and stuff. But like you says, Baz, some of the players probably wanted to enjoy the moment and go and stand and celebrate with the fans, and obviously that was then quickly taken away.
You can't do it, JP, no matter what way you look at it. It's because you see like a few years ago when that Birmingham City fan runs on and attacks that Grealish.
Yeah.
And you're saying fans shouldn't be allowed on the park, end of story. Like, that was so close to being something way worse. If the fan had a knife or in a different story for Jack that day, the fan luckily punched him. Jack got on with the game and scores the winner. So you can't go for that to then saying, oh, but we've won, it's a massive moment. It's all right. You can't run on the park. The rules have never changed. It is what it is. If your team's winning or losing, or you just can't go in the park at any point. So it's mental that there's probably no big enough punishment for the fans who they come on the park, because you see it every week, whether it be last minute goals. Every like there's fans that always celebrate goals, and you'll see like a advertisement board, but at the same time, that advertisement, there could be a steward under that who's just there working, trying to help. It could have been way worse yesterday. Like, you obviously see the Celtic fan afterwards getting his head jumped on, and that stems from the end of the game, and it boils out to after the game. So then you're not safe. You're no safe in the stadium, and you're no safe getting home as well, because of what's happened in the stadium. It's built up so much anger and aggression. It was crazy, and it kind of takes away for them Celtic players that deserve to be on that park yesterday, looking into that stand and celebrating with their fans. They kind of get that took away from them, and had to, in the end, they had to get off the park because they were getting attacked by Rangers fans. So
yeah,
it's just so lucky that there's been no real casualties that we know about.
Yeah, obviously, I've got a kind of still photograph, a kind of siege mentality that quickly descended onto the pitch. And sadly, it was more from the home end than anything else, because they had this sort of entitlement that, we weren't going to enjoy our moment. And this is why the allocation thing became a thing, Baz, because of the way Celtic were celebrating when they were going there and winning. I think that the goal with kind of French Eddie, and then all the celebrations after the game that day, Celtic are down to 2-1, down to 10 men, and go on and win that game. But if you're a Celtic fan, Baz, and you're in the Celtic end, mate, and then you just see a swarm of this coming towards you, mate, what kind of thoughts are going through your mind?
It's scary, though, isn't it? Because you're trapped, kind of. I played in a Villa Birmingham derby, and I remember the ref saying, it was at St Andrews at the time, and Birmingham were beating us 2-1. I remember the ref saying to all your players, like, so weird, like, try and get to the dugout side of the park. It's going to finish in the next 20 seconds. What's he talking about? It's 2-1. Why? I was over the other end on the right hand side, but he wanted me on the other end, and I'm thinking, I'm not just going to leave my position. We're trying to score an equaliser. It's a cut. But that happened that night as well, where both sets of fans came on the park, and luckily we got down the side of the park, and at St Andrews, the tunnel's in the corner. So we had to go off the side and go through the turnstiles all the way around to get out safe, kind of thing. So it is scary. And like I said, there's young kids in that in the stands watching that yesterday, probably crying and fearing for themselves. So, and as a dad, mate, you've got 2 kids yourself. If I was at that game yesterday, I would like to take my son to a Celtic Rangers game at some point, and my daughter as well. She second guess it after yesterday because that wasn't safe yesterday.
Yeah, no, mate, and obviously, as we know, mate, like some of the team, part of the team yesterday had kids in it as well. Obviously, with the way they wanted to behave. I mean, you just need to look at the after scenes of this going up the tunnel. He's basically getting carried there due to his behaviour being out of control and just being a big kid due to his team losing. My understanding is he get his nappy changed just after this scene, Buzz. So obviously when he goes up, I think McGregor goes to see if he's okay, and he throws another tantrum, and then it turns out he's got a bit of a sore bum because his nappy needs changed, and obviously he's a way to get that done as well. But it's nice to see the kind of staff member there looking after him. But that is what it is. It's it's sad, mate, because like I say, these guys are these guys are putting their all in the park, etc. I don't know if you've actually seen it, Baz, as well. So when Big Tam goes to do his interview, Baz, when he's walking up the tunnel, there's nothing there, and I've seen a photo of it today. But when he's there's been unconfirmed rumours though that a big scrimmage happened within the tunnel with some of the players, because I don't know if you picked up on it, Baz. When Big Tam goes to do his interview, he's got blood spots all over his top. He's not cut anywhere, but he's got blood on his top. So what I've heard is that there's obviously been a big scrimmage, and obviously it's been the aftermath of that. Don't know what's happened. I don't know what's went on, mate. But again, mate, what do you put that down to? Do you just put that down to a lot of overspill with emotion, and obviously 2 teams going at it? They're big rivals as well, and then the fact that they've not beat us now in the last couple of games. That's 3 games at Ibrox this season. They've not managed to beat us. Do you think they'll be more frustrated as well? I mean, this is a team that was championed earlier on the season by Celtic fans that I know, saying that we should be more like them in terms of the way they recruit and they do this. They've spent over 40 million quid. They're third in the league table. They've been put out of the cup now by the biggest rivals, both cups, and they finished 31st in the Europa League group stage in the table. So I've went back to these people and quickly reminded them, I mean, you were champion in that, and saying, well, why can Celtic not be more like that? To do what though? Realistically, Rangers do have an opportunity to go for the title as well, but I think you mentioned it earlier, mate, from where we sit just now, certainly momentum is now with Celtic due to what's happened in the last week to 10 days, I would say.
Definitely. You've obviously got Motherwell at Celtic Park next week.
Mm-hmm.
After the split, you'll have Hearts and Rangers at Celtic Park. So you would like to think we've got the upper hand and the advantage with playing in front of your fans. So definitely that we'll put ourselves in a good position. Obviously, Hearts are in a better position at the minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's still a lot to play for. They've still got to go and win the points, as have Celtic. But there'll be twists and turns, definitely, to the end of the season. We need to make sure that we're not involved in them twists, that we're just ticking the games off and winning the points. But there is going to be teams who drop points. We've all got to play each other still. So, no, I think, speaking about Biggs Vanchara with the blood in that, you don't know what's happened. It could have been an injury for a player, and they're all cuddling each other after the game in the changing room on each tap. Or it looked as if when the players were going up the tunnel that there was probably animosity there. Maybe someone would have happened. Who knows? But see, Old Firm games, you don't mind that. You don't mind it, fighting and grabbing people, but it needs to stay on the park. It shouldn't spill into the.
A lot of it comes for the home fans as well, Baz. You've seen the abuse that the players were taking going up the tunnel as well, and things that were being shouted and profanity that was being shouted at them, mate. So, like you says, there was quite a lot of emotion. So I could very quickly believe that story, and that there's been an overspill there and a reaction. Certainly with the way, like I says, the man that went and got his nappy changed, the way he was behaving, because in my opinion, there is video evidence there to. He either kicks out or he spits out at the Celtic staff member when he's bending down to pick up whatever it was he dropped, and he just doesn't look happy, Bazrami, whatever's went on. So yeah, I can imagine. And then you see Arajo obviously giving a bit back. He's taking abuse. He gives a bit back to him, and Big Fan Chara does it the same at the other side of the kind of tunnel, walking up. So I could quickly believe that. There could have been something there. I'm not saying there was, because I don't have any information. I've just heard small murmurs that obviously something's happened, mate.
See, they going down the tunnel where they're abusing the Celtic players. I don't mind that. Like, if that was me, I'd be loving it if I was a Celtic player. I've won, I'd have gave it back. That's fine, but it's like when they're jumping on the park, that's when it becomes a massive no-no for me. For me, the Celtic players going up the tunnel, you're going to get that. That is what it is. Let them, as long as there's no throwing stuff, no spitting, they can shout what they want. You can get a bit back. That's fine for me. That's Old Firm games. That's whether we like it or not. That's the hatred that comes with this fixture. You're going to get that for both sets of fans, where they'll be shouting abuse at the other players. But I thought our players dealt with the going up the tunnel bit really well. It looked more hostile than normal, given what just happened on the park. They were obviously really angry, but you see the characters in the Celtic team, your Vancharas, Maidas, Araujos, they were loving it and getting it back. So you don't mind that, but it's when they start throwing stuff, or if that started to happen when they were walking down there yesterday, that would have been a different scenario. But the shouting and that is what it is.
Yeah. I think that comes part and parcel with that was always going to be the case, because they do it outside when the team buses come. Celtic fans do it at Celtic Park, and obviously you get that on the reverse side when we go to Ibrox. So I think that's always going to be a thing that's never ever going to stop. But one thing that is concerning, Barry, is obviously the allocation now. And I do think next season, mate, if it gets to one of the cup ties and there is an allocation there to be had, mate, I can see that being cut really, 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 really vastly now. There is now a running. We've still to hear, obviously, with what the outcome of yesterday's going to be. But from the outside, mate, it doesn't look good. Obviously, I think there's going to be consequences to this, mate, and we could very well see an allocation being cut altogether again.
I think it'll go back to what it was. It's a shame, because these games are made with the fans and the atmosphere, but it's crazy because, like we speak about, like we'll be moaning about it because of how crap it's been for the away team, and then this happens. It's mental, because I wasn't there yesterday, obviously, but I've spoken to people that weren't there. I've spoken to my cousin who was in the Rangers end. He's a Rangers fan. He was saying it was brilliant, like having the Celtic fans in the Broomlow, and he sits next to them, they're abusing each other, shouting things, having a laugh. So that side of it makes the game as well. But after what's happened yesterday, there's no way on earth that'll ever happen again. The league won't allow it, the police won't allow it, and you can totally see why, because I spoke to wee Sean obviously last night, the situation, and he was like, to be honest, it could have been a lot worse if the police never kind of sorted it out in the end. He said it wasn't as bad as it could have been terrible, but as I say, luckily you probably kind of get away with it without major injuries or even worse, like dying. Like it could have been that bad with what was going on.
Yeah.
But you probably come out of it quite lucky. But nah, you can't take that risk again. It's impossible. Possible because
Yeah, and sadly, mate, like you says, another aftermath part of that is the fella that's everybody initially thought the boy had died. Gets his head stomped on outside a supporters bus. I mean, there's a guy that's just got up yesterday morning and went to the game with his mates, and then he's, the aftermath of that, he's not even getting a chance to celebrate properly with his own fans because he's been battered severely, and he's probably spending a night or two in the hospital because of it. That for me, mate, stuff like that goes above and beyond football. That to me is no, you're not enjoying football. Then if that brings you to that point where you want to go and inflict danger and pain and aggro on someone that badly just because your team lost a game of football, mate, for me it's maybe not a sport for you anymore.
No, it's crazy how things like that can happen. It's, as you said, there's obviously the both sets of club they hate each other. But I was speaking to my dad about it, and he was like, back in the days where he used to go, there wasn't really trouble, like, because you would go to the game, you would go in whenever you wanted, home or away. You wouldn't tell you need to go 3 hours before. You would turn up, go in, and then at the end of it, you ended up going back to pubs and probably drinking with some of the other side. He's got mates who are Rangers fans who'd been at the game as well. But with the way it's going at the minute, it's that just shows you that we've no learned for the previous things that they put on the clubs for the away games, the restrictions, and they lift it for one game, and this is what happens. So we can't complain anymore. No team can complain anymore about the allocation getting cut, because when that happens yesterday, they've got every right. You give yourself no chance.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And it's just a bitter end to what was a great day for Celtic fans and Celtic as a club, obviously going through and that and getting to another semi-final as well. But obviously, mate, it's been really good tonight having you on, having a wee chat with you, mate. It's been really good. It's an hour and 49 minutes nearly in, and I feel as if we just started 10 minutes ago. But that's how well tonight's been. But I want to thank you again, Baz, for coming on. And I know you've got a big game tomorrow against Derby, mate, and your push for promotion this season. So I want to thank you immensely, mate, and cheers for taking the time with me tonight.
No, it's been brilliant, mate. Always that bit better when you're on the back of a win against your biggest rivals. But no, I've been on. Obviously, would have been different if we were speaking about defeat, but luckily for us, we're speaking about being into the next round against St Mirren. So no, I've enjoyed being back on again and seeing you, big man, and just want to thank all the listeners tonight for listening in and coming on.
Yeah, just obviously the voice in my ears telling me we do have recent footage of Ryan hooking up his big mate, so it's good to see there he's there with Big Scalesy. Obviously, Scales has ditched his captain's armband for his wee vest for the night, so it's always good to see the wee man and Scalesy together. I think they make a lovely couple, Buzz.
What's it, Brendan Rodgers in that picture, wee Ryan?
I was going to say that. Ryan looks like he's grew a mullet. But no, again, just as Baz says, folks, thank you very much to all the viewers and everybody that stayed with us over the last nearly 2 hours. I really, really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel and you do like what you've seen tonight, please hit the like and subscribe. It's totally free. We don't charge. And obviously, we'll be indebted to you forever. But for myself and Barry, we'll be with you later on in the week, hopefully, and with some more Celtic chat, as we've got a good break now between now and, obviously, as Barry mentioned, when we take on Motherwell on Saturday, there's no midweek football for Celtic now for a while. So thanks to everybody, and a massive hail as well. And we'll see you all later.
Cheerio. He's there.
Bye-bye.